Hey guys, hope you're well today. I thought I would share the story of how I kind of got started in OnlyFans management, what kind of got me to where I am today, which say there was quite an unexpected turn of events where I am now compared to a couple of years ago. So just thought I would kind of run through like the timeline and some of the experiences that I've had um, in getting here. So how did it all start? I was running a social media marketing agency in Georgia. It was going relatively well. We would do about 400 to, I think our best month was about 600K in revenue per month. We had at its peak about 150 employees in Georgia. Not an easy business to manage. Mostly because we're foreigners, so we were taking advantage of cheaper labor here. However, when you are a foreigner, it becomes much harder to understand like the culture and really like integrate with the just have an understanding of like communicating with the team purely because you're not a local person. So it was myself and my co-founder who was also British, um, in many cases against 150 employees who you would not in all cases, many of them were absolutely like fantastic. There were some great employees there. Many of them actually brought over into the OnlyFans business as well. I kind of took the best ones with with me. um, However, there was like kind of like a lot of situations of managing a bigger team. Like you would overhear, I remember quite distinctly because I understand a little bit of Georgian more than I will kind of let on that I know. Someone kind of saying that, oh, they can afford it, and like just to essentially try to go on strike. So there were quite a few stressful situations that we kind of dealt with, and I had noticed that we had a lot of porn stars and OnlyFans models signing up for an Instagram growth service that we offered. And many of them would come back with kind of like multiple accounts, adding on second and third accounts onto the Instagram service. So it started off with being porn stars. We managed multiple porn stars. This wasn't for the adult space, by the way. This was a business focused on getting customers for other businesses, for individuals who wanted more followers, for people to get kind of influencer status. Like we would grow people by between 800 to 1,500 real followers per month. So it was an Instagram management service. But I just noticed a trend that we were getting a lot of people in the adult space um, signing up. And this was kind of during the COVID period and that is where OnlyFans kind of really started to take off when people were in lockdown. I think a lot of kind of women took to the opportunity of becoming a creator, of working from home. Maybe they lost their job and they kind of had nothing else to do, but more importantly, there were millions of guys at home with nothing better to do, getting free money from their furlough programs, with absolutely nothing to do in life except for please themselves to these women. So these the creators kind of jumped on the opportunity, and there was a great opportunity there, and so we were kind of we just I just noticed a trend of a lot of OnlyFans creators signing up with our service, and then simultaneously. I was just talking to a girl based in the UK, and just in kind of like small talk, I mentioned to her that I operated a marketing agency, a social media marketing agency, and she just came back to me and said that she needed help with marketing, that she had started an OnlyFans. She had done about, I think it was like £1,000, a British girl. She'd done about £1,000 in her first month by promoting on her Instagram, but now she wasn't able to take in any more subscribers because she had marketed to her existing audience. And she asked me if I'd be willing to help. And I literally just thought, like, why not? Let me just take a look at it as a side project. And this was kind of way before anyone was talking publicly about OnlyFans management. There definitely wasn't like the marketing agency infrastructure or tools that exist today. This was, I would struggle to get the exact dates, but probably 3 years ago now. Um, So yeah, we're talking like a long time ago, like nothing like what the industry is today. And if anything, it was kind of much easier in a lot of ways, just due to much less competition, and more importantly, guys not being so savvy to some of the marketing strategies that were being used. For example, I remember making a Tinder profile, making a couple of Tinder profiles and doing a couple of swipes and taking on like five paid subs for her within about 20 minutes or half an hour. Whereas now, for us to create a profile and go through the whole warm-up process on Tinder or Bumble, and we would get maybe like a handful of subs if we do like 1,000 swipes. It was just a different game back then. And then simultaneously, I kind of got hit by the OnlyFans industry from multiple different avenues. There were people like maybe about 8 months to a year on from them, because I was helping that girl with her OnlyFans, but OnlyFans definitely wasn't my primary focus. But I just then started to come across some people in my network who were exploring OnlyFans in a very serious way. Some of them making obscene amounts of money, because OnlyFans in itself, if you take away the kind of prejudgment of the fact that it's an adult industry, it's a fantastic business model. Probably the best business model that I've come across, which is why I choose to be in this industry. I always want to be working on businesses where there's kind of like forward momentum, where it's much easier to make money. Obviously, why would you want to make the battle harder for yourself? And so this was like a big kind of shift in career paths for me, but also not so much. As I mentioned, there's a certain stigma around the adult niche, and my background was in software, SaaS companies, marketing agencies. I'd been running software companies since my first SaaS I launched when I was 19. And then I was running like a custom built SaaS, which I kind of underestimated the amount of capital and work that needed to go into it. I kind of had a funny career path of, most people start off with the agency route, then go into, when they make a load of money, they'll go into SaaS. And build out a team of developers and so on. Whereas I actually took the opposite route. I started off in software, originally using like prepackaged SaaS platforms. You could buy kind of pre-built SaaS platforms, deploy them on your own website. It's kind of like a white label solution, but you were the owner of the code base. And I would just grow those companies. And then I decided to do a custom built SaaS, and again, just kind of underestimated the amount of development capital and everything that would be required. But nonetheless, it was a fantastic learning experience. So then I decided to go into agency, into social media marketing agency, doing everything hands-on through mobile devices, as I've discussed before. But I was always very focused on marketing. Black hat creative marketing, as in creative thinking, or growth hacking, whatever you want to call it. Basically taking a thinking outside the box approach to growing businesses. Often being a little bit cheeky, looking for exploits in website systems, bypassing things, looking for ways to utilize other platforms to our benefit, to our financial benefit. Not necessarily like in an illegal way, but simply just using platforms in ways that they're not supposed to be used, pushing boundaries to generate revenue. So in some of my old videos, for anyone who's been around here for a long time, you'll see me running like 250 plus LinkedIn accounts, doing mass messaging, promoting B2B SaaS products, using like hyper-personalized targeting, AI conversion analysis, conversation analysis, as in analyzing the sentiment that is going on within a conversation on LinkedIn to understand if this is a good prospect or not. And this was 5 years ago, maybe, way before GPT-3 or anything like that was on the scene. And that's the other thing. It's like, I have been making YouTube videos now for quite a long time. I didn't kind of just jump on the trend of, not even the trend, the idea of let me just start making videos on OnlyFans and like sell a course on it. I've just been doing this for years, and YouTube isn't like a big financial. This is a complete side tangent, but YouTube isn't a big. I enjoy the process of living. We live in an attention economy, and I enjoy the process of recording and documenting my work and kind of sharing it online. And I encourage everyone else to do so, whether you're in OnlyFans or in any other niche. But anyway, it turns out that OnlyFans isn't that dissimilar to the other industries that I worked in. My days are still spent, or as maybe some people imagine, my days are not spent, partying with girls on yachts and doing all this stuff. I sit in my office for probably 60%, 70% of the time, figuring out and executing on creative strategies to grow OnlyFans creators to earn more money. This is my prime focus, some of which I choose to share publicly on YouTube. Other stuff I share within the course as well. So really, like, my job hasn't actually changed that much. I still use the exact same skill set: marketing, automation, creativity, growth hacking, programming. Just instead, we choose to sell naked pictures instead of website plugins or social media management. And as the saying goes, sex sells, and I would say that now it is getting a lot more competitive, and I think as a lot of creators have realized, it's easier to sell this than something else, which again is why I choose to be in this industry. But it's not as easy as it is made out to be, and that is one thing that does annoy me about this business, is people do make out that it's kind of so easy to do. And again, it's easier than other businesses, but if you look at like two creators, if you look at a creator and maybe her friend, for example, you can have a creator who maybe makes herself $20,000 in a month, and she will go and tell her friend that. And what we will often see is in the back of her friend's mind, she will be thinking, I could do that if I just chose to start an OnlyFans. I could make that type of money. And no, you probably can't. Unless you have like an audience already. I do think that the work that actually goes into growing these OnlyFans profiles is often underappreciated from people who aren't involved in the industry, that is. They just kind of think that sex sells, so it's so easy to do that. You can post your pictures online and you're going to make insane amounts of money. And it is not the case anymore. It really isn't. So again, it's coming from outside the industry, and often from newcomers into the industry, they will experience that as well. A creator can kind of think, like a brand new creator can think, I can post a couple of pictures, post to my Instagram audience, and I'm going to make a ton of money. And that is why there's a whole industry built around marketing agents, OnlyFans marketing agencies, is because it's not the case. Yes, maybe you can sell to your existing Instagram followers and make a couple of $1,000s, but you will kind of you will run out of an audience pretty quickly, is the reality of it. So I think for any kind of creators that are doing very well on themselves, and for agencies that are helping creators to earn more money, I do feel that there is a kind of like a lack of appreciation for the amount of work that actually does go into growing an OnlyFans creator up to 6 figures per month. Because both the creator and the agency would have put in a lot of work in order to achieve that. And then going on to like, what are some of the things that I dislike about this business, or about the job, let's say, because there are a few. So point number one is the creator is the most important aspect in this business. I don't think anyone can argue against that. Without the creator, the business isn't really possible, no matter how good you are at marketing. And I know some people are going to talk to me about AI generated porn, which is like becoming a thing now, and you could try to do an OnlyFans with that. That's not currently the business that we're in. We manage real models, and we do OnlyFans management, traditional OnlyFans management. So, and the creator can also be both in a positive and a negative way. Well, let me say that a different way. We have some creators that are super hardworking, like 100% on the ball, getting all content and all the content requirements that we have of them done on time. And like simultaneously, we have some horror stories. Some of them I kind of won't share publicly, but the creator can be both the best and the worst part of the business. Because some creators are just fantastic to work with, and others are just an absolute nightmare. But the same applies, I think, to most businesses. You know, you get some great employees, you get some great clients, and that is a lesson that I learned a long time ago. Is not all clients are created equal. Don't be scared to kind of walk away from any client who is kind of causing more hassle or more problems than is kind of necessary or kind of within reason. And the same applies for anything. It applies for OnlyFans. It applies to any business. Like kind of, don't be afraid to kind of walk away from any relationship if it isn't a productive and positive relationship. I guess I should give some examples. One example I have is that we tripled the revenue of an OnlyFans creator literally overnight, and they actually ended up leaving because, and I will quote the reason here, because our chatters were too focused on earning money. And that is exactly what we're there to do. So I did not even bother passing the feedback over to the chatters because they are actually incentivized. The chatters work on a commission basis to extract as much money as possible out of the creators. The fact that we were able to triple the revenue of that particular creator overnight, yes, of course, what they were saying was true. And if anything, I would be proud of that, is that our chatters literally proved that they were 3 times more focused on extracting revenue than their previous chatters. And they wanted more of like a kind of like relationship building, which ironically is actually what our chatters are quite focused on, and is how they are able to extract those types of money out of the clients. But they wanted like a much more kind of soft approach. However, like for us, the numbers and kind of the bottom line speaks for itself, and so I kind of had no regrets in kind of walking away from that partnership. Another situation, I've had a few situations with content houses actually, which is why I kind of have gone off them as a general idea. But we had one situation with a content house where a creator locked herself in her room for 3 days. And I mean literally for 3 days, for a 72-hour period, did not come out aside to collect one meal. Like we were kind of sitting, eating downstairs as a group. And this just kind of put me in a difficult situation. I was scared to go up to her room to kind of see what was going on. I thought I could become the next, Andrew Tate with... I didn't know if it was some type of a trap or like whatever it was of her saying like he not. I was there with like other people as well. My girlfriend was present there as well, but saying that I tried to like knock on her door and enter her room or something. It could have gone like could have gone south, as we would say. It could have gone very badly. And kind of like texting and messaging her, she was saying that everything was fine, and of course she's been in her room for 3 days and hasn't come out. And so we know everything isn't fine. And after 3 days, it turned out that due to a full moon, and she was on her period, she couldn't come outside to just to kind of explain that she was on her period and wasn't able to work. And then another example that we have is that. So that is what I don't like about the business, is that you can deal with these kind of illogical problems, I would say, where I much prefer kind of being creative in my problem solving, but solving like logical problems. Another example is we had a Parisian model, grew her to 60K per month, and literally just did not hear from her for 3 weeks. And just saw some stories of her on a yacht it was in the south of France, I think she was in, and yeah, just no replies from her for 3 weeks. And so that is the kind of problem, and she was making great money as well and just had so much more potential. But you just kind of deal with these situations, which for me are kind of like that is the most annoying part of the business, dealing with these often emotional or just illogical problems. And just to be completely transparent, the actual management side of the models, I actually I'm not hands-on with, I try to spend all of my time focusing on marketing and implementation of new strategies and implementation of our marketing, because that is where my strengths lies, and I don't really enjoy the day-to-day management, let's say, often emotional management of creators. But again, on the other hand, I don't mean, like, we work with some creators who are absolutely fantastic, truly professionals, and just brilliant to work with. Then finally, like, the closing point is that, so now that I've been in this business for over 2 years now, I think, what do I think of OnlyFans as a business model? Because I do still get asked this, and the answer should be kind of self-explanatory. If I am choosing to work in this business, it means that I believe this is the best opportunity that exists for earning money, which I genuinely do. I'm fully focused on OnlyFans as a business, not the course, not the anything else. My biggest focus in my data, what I spend most of my time executing on, is making money for our OnlyFans models. And I'm very picky about what I spend time on. And just, again, another side tangent, but as you kind of level up in the world, as you develop your skills, you have more and more opportunities coming across your way. Like, I have so many people offering me business opportunities, or, you know, all types of stuff that I kind of turn down just because I truly believe this is the number one opportunity, and nothing really comes close to it for me at the moment. So OnlyFans for me still remains to be the number one opportunity for so many reasons. Compared to any other business model, I think it's, the earnings potentials are huge, very fast to get started, limited capital needed with huge upside potential, and you have a ton of opportunities, if you do have capital, to reinvest that capital and to kind of make tremendous returns, which is what I'm really quite focused on at the moment, is capital allocation within our OnlyFans agency. Where can I reinvest and deploy large amounts of capital to generate significant returns on them? So yeah, I guess we'll leave it there. That's kind of my update and stories, some of my, from where I started off with to what I currently feel of the OnlyFans business. But just to clarify, this is I believe, the number one opportunity that exists currently.